This is exit path, and that's the first caution sign of 30. The controls are what you'd expect. I'm using left and right to run, up to jump, holding it longer to jump higher. I then press down to slide through the gap, and that's my runner ID. When the flow is ready, hold shift or spacebar to run faster. If we want to get the next sign, we have to get to the top step and then jump. That is the end of the underground section, and we're now in the stadium where death is a high probability. The music becomes more energetic and the crowd cheers as you run. Make your way to the checkpoint by dodging the axe. Keep to the right on the spring and don't be in too much of a hurry to get the next sign, because you may find yourself back at the checkpoint. Jump over the saw and onto the spring. If you miss this sign, there's no way back. Avoid running too fast on the treadmills because we want to get this sign up here. Hold up on the spring, but not for too long as I just demonstrated there. You need a little bit of patience here and then run through. And to get the 8th caution sign, it's important to line yourself up properly and then hold up to jump even higher. Like so, and then slide through the gap and don't get chopped by the axe. You'll need to run past the laser and into the teleport. Then jump over it and collect the sign. Then drop into the teleport and time your fall properly before sprinting to the next screen. These spikes will crush you, and so will these if you're not quick enough. To get the sign above the teleport, this is what you do. Next, clear the gap between the treadmills and use the flow that you've built up. I've now completed the stadium and I'm in the audit room. When I go through the turnstile, I find that my freedom has been denied. This is the start of a series of tests that progressively get more dangerous. It's best not to rush too much, otherwise you'll have to get past the obstacles again. After getting the checkpoint, I'd recommend going on the top route, but just take it steady. This next test looks rather frightening, but because the axes go the same way, it's a lot easier than you think. You can get the caution sign like this, but it's very tricky to get back across. Fortunately, I touched the checkpoint and actually saved some time, unlike Just. Never mind though. This is test C, and we start off by dodging lots of spikes. Once we jump over the spikes and hit the checkpoint, we must use the flow to clear the gap. There's a caution sign down here, and we'll have to clear the gap again in exactly the same way as before. Once you get past the checkpoint, it's best to use your flow to counteract the effect of the treadmill. In test D, we must protect ourselves from the lasers by finding cover, and then keep moving until you get behind this wall. To get the sign, you'll have to sacrifice yourself. And that's how you get sign 15, so we're now halfway to getting them all. I get the caution sign above my head and begin my path to freedom. It may be tempting to sprint to freedom, but when the lights turn on, it becomes clear it's just another trap. It seems that freedom is just out of our reach. It's very easy to die in this back room, but if you do little jumps and be quick, you should be okay. And don't forget to get the caution sign. You need to wait for the axes to swing to the left before sprinting across. You have to be careful getting this sign. Once we make it through here, we can slide on the conveyor belt to get a flare. The only way to get the caution sign below is to jump and die. With the limited view, it's easy to die, but if you learn from your mistakes, you should be able to make it through. Grab the partially hidden sign and make use of the flow as we run outside towards our freedom. Jump to get the sign and then let your flow build up before burning through it. You'll now see lots of hazards including saws, spikes and lasers. It's very easy to die on this section. You may think it's best to take your time, but it's not always possible when you've got a laser coming after you. These saws look more dangerous than what they actually are. Just one jump should get you through. Careful sliding through here, and then don't forget to use the flow. These axes go in different directions. It's not too much trouble though. These ones are more tricky, but once you've figured the pattern out, it's not too difficult to get through. Now we can run into the teleport and get the sign on the left. I should have waited until the other axe came across instead, so let's try that again. That's better. There is a sign behind the sign, so don't forget to jump here. We've now completed the bridge, and it's important not to go too fast on the treadmill, or too slow. Get the right speed to make it through. You then have to be careful on your landing when you're getting that sign. I ought to mention that you shouldn't run too fast because there is a hole and you may have to start again. Okay, so this time, I've done it again. Oh well, we've got a rewind flare, so it's not all bad. Now this is what I was trying to show you what to do. Now we're just 300 feet from the city limit. You may be wondering why I'm bouncing on this spring, but the reason is because if we bounce 10 times, we get a flare. There's also a sign over here. Normally I'd make that jump. It's usually this jump that I have more difficulty with. And this one is especially tricky, evident by the number of times I'm going to die. We made it through. It's important not to jump over that checkpoint. Then after falling, do a little jump. We're now 200 feet from the city limit. And there's a sign over here. And don't do what I've just done. You can run through, but I'd recommend sliding there. You can jump over the axe once it starts spinning the opposite direction. It's important to take your time and figure out the pattern. You can then jump from one checkpoint to the next. I find it easier to do bigger jumps along this section. Stay ducking down until you're ready to get to the checkpoint. And this is when you want to jump. We're now 100 feet to the city limit. I may have made it if I didn't do that second jump. You have to time it right, otherwise you die. That's more like it. Build up your speed, then a little jump at the edge. Same again. Then hold jump much longer. Get the checkpoint because you don't want to go through that again. So keep sliding to avoid the axes. Now you'll have to die if you want to get that sign. On this bit you'll have to take a brief pause before jumping through. We're just outside the city and I'll show you how to get the very last sign. So that's all 30. We've just got one last final challenge until we make it to freedom. You want to do small jumps as it gets narrower. Let's try that again. I'm building up my flow. I'm getting ready to press shift and then go for it. So that's the end of the uniplayer mode, but we can still get another flare by filling the flow to the maximum. And then another flare by burning it all. And that's my final time, 9:46. Not bad.